Community of Rockville, Maryland, just north of Washington, D.C., in a state of shock after a 14-year-old girl allegedly raped by two immigrant students in a high school bathroom. One of the suspects, originally from Guatemala, was here in the United States illegally, stopped a couple of months ago in Texas and then let go. And many are now laying some of the blame on disastrous sanctuary city policies that specifically direct law enforcement not to cooperate with ICE. Joining us right now is Fox News contributor and New York Times best-selling author Mark Steyn. Mark, good morning to you.
Hey, good to be with you, Steve.
Montgomery County, where this happened, is pushing to become a sanctuary county. Maryland apparently has passed legislation where they're trying to become a sanctuary state.
Right.
Okay, that frames what has happened in Rockville. What do you make of it?
Right. Yeah, I think this is the depravity of the political class. They're basically willing to offer up their own citizens, 14-year-old schoolgirls, and sacrifice them on the altar of diversity and virtue signaling and the shameless political posturing. You know, as we saw in the Gorsuch hearing, Democrats particularly have great empathy in theory, but the practical consequences of that poser empathy are what happened to this girl in this school bathroom a few days ago. There is no benefit to the citizens and legal residents of the United States in fetishizing mass illegal immigration, and shame on this county and the state of Maryland for going along with it.
Well, we know at least one of the guys was in this country illegally. I know in one suburban school district, 19 different languages are taught and used in the school. And in this case particular, you've got adult men, in this case, in this country illegally, sitting in the same classroom with teenage girls. Ultimately, as a parent, you got to wonder, who's sitting in the same classroom with my kid today?
Yeah, and this is in a culture where if you were to propose reading Huckleberry Finn, everyone would go bananas and demand a safe space. But you can't have a safe space for a man who is a grown adult man who's in the country illegally. And incidentally, he was supposedly detained at the border and then let go by U.S. immigration. I brought in a 5-piece band from Montreal a couple of weeks ago on H-2B visas, and a guy called Officer Williams at the Highgate Springs border post in Vermont detained them for longer, I would wager, than this illegal immigrant was detained on the southern border before he was released, supposedly to report to an immigration judge in 5, 10, 20, 47 years' time. This is a corrupt, broken system of which lawful citizens and residents of this country are the victims.
Well, Mark, both these guys apparently came into the country during the Barack Obama era, where it was catch and release. Even if you're within 200 miles, let them go. They'll show up for a judge eventually. Donald Trump got elected. At least he won the nomination on the promise that he would do something to crack down on the people coming into this country illegally.
Yeah, and that's what he should do. That's what catapulted his campaign. All around the murder of Kate Steinle. You know, every country has its share of rapists and murderers. That's one of the jobs Americans can do. You don't need to import additional people to do that. So when someone who has been detained by your government then commits a rape, as this guy did, that is not just a human failure, that is a failure of public policy. One of the great things that President Trump said was when he said that he wanted to move to an Australian and Canadian style system of points. I don't think Canada and Australia have particularly great immigration systems, but at least the principle is that immigrants to a country should be of benefit to that country. And that's exactly the opposite of the immigration patterns in the U.S. right now.
Well, it is a terrible situation, a terrible story in Rockville. Mark, thank you very much for joining us today from New Hampshire to talk about it.
Thanks a lot, Steve.